Hi there. Can you tell us your name?
Yeah, my name is Calvin Hume.
And where do you live?
I live in Guelph, Ontario. Yeah.
How did you get started in traditional and primitive archery?
I started getting into bows when the kids got to be around 16 years of age and stuff, and I went out and priced some bows and stuff, thought we'd do some archery together, and I thought, well, holy smokes, I can't afford some of this stuff. They're nice bows and stuff, but then I quit drinking and smoking, and I thought, you know what, this would be a good replacement for me, and so I started from there, and I never looked back.
Good. Can you outline some of the types of bows and accessories you make?
Yeah, I build native flat bows. This particular bow here is ash. It's 55 at 28-inch draw. This bow here, I've had it for 10 years. If you look after your bows and stuff, they will last, right? But you always got to store them in a cool place. You can't have them baking in a car and stuff. Then you're going to have another story to deal with. But yeah, I like this native style. This is my favorite type of bow to build, right? It works really well, and then you get into Osage. Osage is probably the best bow wood out there. It's hard to get up here in Ontario. To buy a piece of Osage this size is about $100, right? And every bow's got its own character.
That's before it's a bow?
Yeah, it's way before it's a bow. It's basically a piece of stick. So then this one, I steam the ends on this one because they're a static recurve, and then I reinforce the tips here with different color wood, give it some nice appearance and stuff, and
They give it strength as well?
it gives it strength. A static curve is a bit more hand shock than the regular recurve, the working recurve bows. But like I said before, Osage is just the color of the Osage. I leave a bit of sapwood on it to give it color. People say you should take it down and stuff, which is true, but I never had a problem with these things being 45 pounds at 28-inch draw, right? But I tell you, it casts a shot pretty fast, right? There's a lot of people out there, they sinew back the bows and then they put rawhide on it and stuff, but I never did a sinew back bow. My bows shoot pretty fast the way they are, but I hear it turns a piece of wood into something else when you sinew back it. It's a lot of work to sinew a bow, but it's well worth it. It's got to dry for a year. You use high glue and stuff, but I like to try to do it, but it's just like I say, I work 11 hours a day, and this is a hobby right now. But when I retire and stuff, I'm looking forward to doing this stuff. But I really enjoy it. It's a real passion for me, right? So that was Osage style bow. I get into building long bows. This one here is 70 pounds at 28-inch draw. It's a piece of ash. I leave a little bit of bark on it, give it the color, right? But this thing will shoot a dart like you wouldn't believe it. It's fast. I can't pull it 28 because I'm not strong enough anymore. But about 10 years ago it wasn't a problem. Right, but it's kind of funny how you get older, you get a little bit wiser, I'd say. Not weaker, but wiser. But other than that, and then I put all my, I stitch my handles on, right, leather stitch, right. This is a bit slippery, but it seems good. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. And then this is a bamboo-backed ash bow with the small C is on there. I glue them on and I wrap it for reinforcement. This bow here, not even a pound this bow weighs. And bamboo is the best backing that you could ever put on a bow. It's just like iron. But they say bamboo is a grass. It's a straight grain, right? But if you over stress it, it will explode, of course. But other than that, it's a really good bow. I could probably load it here, and I like the push-pull method loading bows here, but so there's that's how it's braced, right? I usually use this rule of thumb here. That's so it doesn't hit your arm. If you hit your arm, just, twirl the string and it gets a little bit higher until it clears your arm. And you don't need an arm guard and stuff. I found that out. This particular bow is 35 pounds at 27-inch draw. It draws nice. It bends really nice. It's smooth. It's quiet, overly quiet. And I use bamboo shafts for this one, right? Because it's bamboo backed. I don't know why, but I use like bamboo arrows. It's primitive carbon, I call them. So, but yeah, I was quite impressed with this one.
Now, would that be what they call a horse bow?
It's a horse bow design, right? This is more of a horse bow design here, right? It's shorter, right? This is
very unusual.
Yeah, you look on there, you think every type of bow's been built before, but I put deer jawbones on this one as for the seas, and you glue the teeth in so they don't fall out, right? I spent 60 hours building this bow, trying to get the seas to line up straight to shoot properly and everything else. And I had a lot of interested people on it last show I was at, and then I put a different backing. I use cotton. That stuff is great. I mix this glue up so it doesn't crack. I had a little trick of the trade I come up with, and it works very well, right? This bow here is actually, it's 40 pounds at 26-inch draw, and it shoots very well, so it just, it's nice and, so, but yeah, I had a lot of people looking at it, and it got a lot of people talking, that's for sure. But like I say, you look at the things that people's built and stuff, you think, everything's been done out there, but then you come up with an idea, you know what, let me try this, and it kind of worked out, and like I said, a lot of people were pretty impressed with it, and which I was, of course I swelled my head up a little bit, I thought, but that was pretty good. But and then I got this idea from a friend of mine, Steve Thompson. He helped build the bows for the movie with Tom Cruise in it, for The Last Samurai, and they use rope and wedge techniques and stuff. And when I seen that, I thought, wow, that works really good. You cross, each spot. If you had to clamp it the Western way of doing things, you got a tight spot and a weak spot and a tight spot. This way, it's tight all the way through, and where you put the wedges, it'll reflex the bow just enough, right? So when you go to shoot the bow in, it's perfectly straight. It works out really well. Your glue lines, like if I'm laminating a bow, right? And the glue lines here, okay, I got a little bit of a gap there. You tighten the wedge a little bit more, right? And then it squeezes it out a bit more. And then you inspect your glue lines, and you know what? It's a fantastic way of doing it, right?
Very time consuming, I would imagine.
Yeah, it takes its time and stuff, but this way I could go to the cottage. I don't need hydro or nothing. I do have hydro up there, but if I'm out in the deck and stuff, you know what? It's great. You're just out there enjoying yourself, But it's pretty cool. I thought when I seen that, I thought, wow, that's a neat idea.
You make your own arrows too? I see some shafts there.
Yeah, I make my arrows out of I'll cut a piece of wood a little bit longer than the arrows are because of the cracking. I'll glue the ends. This is 2 years old, right? And I'll glue the ends. I'll let it sit a year usually, but I ran out of time. And then I'll use my sawmill I got, and then I'll board these out. And then I'll let them sit for a while and cure. And then you come out with these square sticks, but like I say, you got to have perfect grain, right? And I don't know if you can see here or not, but this grain here is not like perfectly parallel. It's got a cut off point, and it will break, right? So this is for demonstrations, right? But you can see how straight the grain is here, right? And then here's got a problem, and then that's the weak spot. So, but I always start them out at 1/2 inch square stock, right? And then once that's done, I take it down with the dowler I picked up at Lee Valley, and I'll put that in the drill, and I'll just run it through like a pencil sharpener. And as you see, this piece is a perfect prime piece of wood. It's perfect grain, right? And that way, straight grain is the best way to go, right? And when you do your knocks, of course, you got to offset your grain, or you can put a horn knock on it. If you're shooting a 70-pound bow, you got to make sure it's reinforced, right? Or you're going to have a problem out there. Most of my bows, I spine them heavier than the bow, about 10 pounds heavier. And spine weight is the flex of the arrow. Like some people that doesn't know that. And I taper my shafts, right? I'll leave it about 11-30 seconds at the tip, and then down to the knock end, I'll go to about 5/16. And I can, like I say, if this is a short one, but I usually have my arrows long. So when I spine test it, right, if I want 50 spine and this one's, you know, a little weak at 40, I'll move it down a little bit, right? And then I'll mark it. And then, okay, now it's 55, right? So then I cut that part off, right? And then this part will come off later, right? It works really good.
What's the advantage of being tapered?
I find it clears the bow better. Like it's thick here, and it just, you know what I mean? And it's I don't know, it just seems to fly better, right?
Yeah.
I seem to think it's better. This is a finished product here. I always use tongue oil for my shafts. I'll dip them 3 times, right? But before I do that, it's finely sanded, and then I burnish it with a spoon, right? It really shows the grain and stuff, and that's what people like out there and stuff. And you know, I sell my shafts, you know, sometimes they're $3 a shaft, sometimes they're $5, depending on the taper and the spine weight and everything else. But from scratch, you know, it's a lot of work, right?
What kind of wood do you use in your arrows?
I use ash, I use oak, I use birch. I like birch. Birch is, it takes a punishment. Like a friend of mine, we shoot at the club, and we'll shoot through little narrow windows like this, and I call it shit shooting. It's pretty good, and they take a punishment. A cedar shaft will just shatter and break, right? Yeah. And another thing is, all my arrows I tap the tips with a tap, a 4-flue tap, right? So it's kind of screwed on and glued on with hot melt glue. And I don't buy the glue they got there at Canadian Tire, that yellow stuff. It's too expensive. I come up with a plan of my own hot glue that I mix with something else, and the trade secret again, and it works really good. And the different type of fletching and stuff I use is this is a turkey, tail feather of a turkey. It's native design, of course, right? If you can glue them on, it's better, but this has a bit more drag. But if you're in the bush and your fletching comes off, and you know you need to do something, you just tie a leaf on it. All it does is stop the back of the arrow passing the front of the arrow. You don't have to look pretty. It just has to have a good function, which I find it works very well. And then this is a flue. I put the arrow on the opposite way. I mean the feather backwards, right? And it has more drag, right? So it's good for birds and stuff like that, right? And the difference between flues and the other type of arrows is like this one's a 2 fletch, right? There's 3 fletch, there's 4 fletch. I like the 2 fletch. They're quieter, they fly straight, they're faster, right? And another thing is flues, the difference between the two is this will go about 4 times further than the flue. And if you're shooting birds, you don't want to be looking for your arrows or whatever, but right, they're good for 10 to 15 yards of shooting, which I haven't done much of bird shooting anyway. So, but I have harvested 2 deer in 16 years with my primitive gear that I made an arrow out of a dogwood out of the swamp. That was my first deer I got with the bow I made, and it was a fulfillment. It was like it all came together. All that hard work all came together. And it's not like shooting a great big antler's buck. I know that's probably good feeling, but you can't eat antler. That's what I tell people. If you want to hunt meat, right? You hunt for meat. It fills the freezer, it feeds us. We don't waste the deer. I make the hide into stuff, right? Quivers and bow quivers and stuff. I tan my own hides, which is a lot of work, but you know, it's a passion. It's a great passion. I really enjoy that.
I see you have some bows over there. What stage are they at there? Are they just in the finished?
Yeah. This is a long bow. It's a piece of ironwood. I like a bow that's got character, right? You know,
character meaning?
They got grooves in it, knots and stuff like that, and you know, it looks like something that came out of the bush and you harvest it really
Doesn't
nice.
affect the ability of the bow?
No, it doesn't.
Not at all.
There might be weak spots in it, but all my bows I shoot it over 100 times. I make sure that they're a good bow before I even consider selling them and stuff. And it seems to work out really good for me. You know, that was a piece of ironwood. This is another character bow. It's a piece of ash, and people say you need a perfectly straight piece of wood to make a bow, but this has, you know, knots and stuff in it. So when you're tillering the bow, right, making it bend, your tensile strength and your compression strength are both at 100%. The middle is 0. You want your middle 0. So if you got a lump there and you think, oh, it's not bending there, you got to visualize the center line of the bow, right? Okay. And once you do that with a character bow, like this one only has one function on here, like that doesn't look good. This is perfectly straight, it's easy to tiller. This one with the hump in it, if you got ones with 10 or 16 humps in it, it's a bit of a challenge. You sit back and you got to study it differently. But once it turns out, it's just a remarkable piece of work, right? Like a work of art, I call it. And then this one here is a piece of ironwood. It's crooked, okay? A lot of people think that, like I said before, you need a perfectly straight piece of wood to make it bend and function properly. No, right? You make it functional. You offset your tips with your string, so then it can bypass your handle better, which works out really well. I like to leave a little bit of the bark on it and stuff for, you know, camouflage, natural camouflage, which I think works good. And then here's a long bow that I donated to a friend of mine, and it broke on him. And like I say, I do warranty my bows, and I gave this to a gentleman, and he said my bow broke. I said, well, bring it back, I'll make you another one. Well, I didn't pay for it, he gave it to me. It doesn't matter, I says, you know, you live and learn, you respect people, right? So that's...
You strung it the wrong way, is that what happened?
Yeah, most of my bows, they don't take a set, right? When I do the rope and wedge technique, I put a deflex in it. And so when I shoot the bow in, it usually goes perfectly straight. It won't take a set, right? A lot of people don't know what a set is, but this bow here took a set, right? You see the bend? Okay. Yes. That takes a set, which is natural for this style of bow, right? But when you're laminating a bow with the wedges, I make sure it bends the opposite way. So when you shoot it in, so when he could have strung it backwards, I'm not sure. It could have spun on him, I'm not sure. But the problem is it broke, and I warranted it for him. It's a beautiful bow, hickory backed walnut, right? Which is beautiful color, right? You know, it's got character knot in it that, you know, it didn't change the function of the bow at all, right? And he loved this bow. He said it was just great. Like, you know, I like to see a smile on somebody's face more than, you know, lining your pockets, right? So, which that's what I agree with most of the time.
What is your warranty again? If I bought a bow from you, what would I expect?
The warranty of my bows are a 1-year replacement warranty. I will build you another bow, but I want that bow back But if there's a shipping problem and stuff like that, with it costs money to ship it back, I need pictures, right? Plus, what tells me that I don't want him to break another one. If he made a mistake, I want to correct him on it. Another reason is if I made a mistake, I want to correct myself on it. So I need that knowledge back, because he could have left it in the car too long because it got hot. You got to keep these bows in a cool, dry spot, right? A lot of people leave them in the cars. Even a fiberglass laminated bow will explode. I've seen it happen. Yeah, so.
Where can we get more information about your bows? And
You can go to www.calsperimeterarchery.com. It shows the different style of bows that I make. I make long bows, I make recurve bows, I make horse bows, whatever you want, they're all on there. And if people want to, go on the site and check that out, it's calsperimeterarchery.com.
Okay. Well, thanks, Calvin. That was very informative.
Well, thank you. I'm glad you came, and I hope I gave you the answers you needed. So,
Okay.
you're quite welcome.